What if the most important move Jerry Jones makes this offseason never involves a trade, never involves the draft, and has nothing to do with a player currently wearing a Cowboys jersey? What if the piece that unlocks everything Dallas built this offseason is still sitting in free agency right now, waiting on a phone call that keeps not coming? The linebacker room is the last unresolved storyline on this roster, and the clock is running out. Welcome back to Cowboys Reality Check. I'm Nick. Hit that subscribe button right now, because today we are breaking down a first-team All-Pro linebacker Detroit, just made available at 25 years old, a future Hall of Famer who is still unsigned and still the best green dot option on the market, and a 6'8" developmental monster the Cowboys just signed off the street that nobody is talking about. Let's get into it. Start with the story that should have every person inside the Star moving with real urgency, because the Detroit Lions just handed Dallas a window of opportunity that will not stay open for long. The Lions declined to exercise the fifth-year option on linebacker Jack Campbell's contract this week, and that single decision should have the Cowboys front office treating the next few weeks like a critical deadline. Campbell was not merely a productive player in 2025. He was a first-team All-Pro at 25 years old, posting career highs across virtually every statistical category on his resume. Fox Detroit and ESPN both confirmed the Lions passed on the option because it carried a cap hit of approximately $21.9 million, a figure that would have made Campbell the highest-paid off-ball linebacker in the entire NFL on a single-year guaranteed deal. The Detroit News explained that the disconnect is structural rather than talent-driven. The league's fifth-year option formula for off-ball linebackers inadvertently groups traditional players alongside edge rushers, whose contracts run dramatically higher, and the Micah Parsons extension with Green Bay inflated that number well beyond what the market actually reflects for a pure inside linebacker. Detroit beat reporters have been consistent in their reporting that the Lions want to extend Campbell long-term and have no intention of trading him. Lions general manager Brad Holmes has repeatedly included Campbell among the players he wants in Detroit for years to come. That is the honest framing this fan base deserves, and any take that ignores that reality is setting its audience up for disappointment. But the framing that matters for Dallas right now is this: Campbell is entering a contract year with no long-term security in place. His representation, led by agent David Mulaketa, wants a deal that accurately reflects his real market value. If Detroit does not deliver that agreement before the season begins, the Cowboys should absolutely be on the phone asking what it would cost to acquire him. As the Landry Hat reported this week, Dallas should at minimum make that inquiry, because adding a linebacker of Campbell's caliber would be genuinely transformational for this defense. The numbers tell you exactly why. Campbell posted 176 tackles, 5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, and 3 forced fumbles in 17 starts last season, all career highs. He has not missed a single game across his first 3 NFL seasons. He is 25 years old, entering the prime years of his career, not the back half. The comparable contracts in this linebacker market give you a realistic price range for what a deal would look like. Azeez Al-Shaair signed for 3 years and $54 million with Houston, an average of $18 million per year. Devin Lloyd signed with Carolina this offseason at $15 million per year. Campbell is outperforming both of them by every measurable standard right now, and a deal structured somewhere in that range on a multi-year extension is entirely achievable for a Cowboys organization sitting in strong cap shape through 2028. The flexibility exists. The need is undeniable. What is missing is the decision to make the call. What makes this conversation even more urgent is the full picture of everything the Cowboys tried this offseason and could not finish. They pursued Al-Shaair aggressively through the early weeks of free agency and came away with nothing. Conversations around Patrick Queen went nowhere before he landed elsewhere. The D. Winters trade during draft weekend was a genuinely smart piece of roster construction. A 25-year-old linebacker who posted 101 tackles in 2025 with San Francisco, coming home to Texas in the final year of his rookie deal, acquired for just a 5th-round pick. Will McClay found real value in that move and deserves credit for making it happen. But Winters himself stood in front of Cowboys beat reporters this week and said something that every person building this defense needs to hear clearly. When asked directly about his green dot experience, he did not spin it. He did not oversell his readiness. He said exactly what the situation is as far as experience. I really haven't had any. I've only done a few practices with the green dot, so that'll be new, but it's a first time for everything, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. That quote is not a condemnation of D. Winters as a player. He is talented, he is athletic, and Christian Parker has a specific plan to deploy him in space where his physicality and speed can make plays. Winters is excited about that role, and he should be. But that role is not the green dot role. That role is not the defensive quarterback role. And until someone on this roster fills that position with the experience and command it requires, this defense will always be one missed assignment away from the same chaos that defined the 2025 season. Which is precisely why the Bobby Wagner conversation refuses to go away, and why dismissing it at this point would be a mistake. Wagner is a 10-time Pro Bowler, an 11-time All-Pro, a Super Bowl champion, and according to Pro Football Reference, one of only 3 players in NFL history to reach 2,000 combined career tackles, joining Ray Lewis and London Fletcher in that company. He reached that milestone during Washington's final regular season game in January. He turns 36 in June of this year, and he is still sitting in free agency, unsigned, while the Cowboys continue to leave the most experienced defensive play caller available at their biggest position of need out on the open market. His production last season with the Commanders was not the output of a player managing decline. He posted 162 total tackles, 5th in the entire NFL, alongside 4.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions, and 4 passes defended across all 17 games. His Pro Football Focus run defense grade ranked 5th among all 88 qualifying linebackers at 90.3. His pass rush grade ranked 2nd in the entire position group at 92.4. Per Heavy Sports, Wagner was the only linebacker in the entire NFL last season to post 90-plus PFF grades simultaneously in run defense, pass rushing, and tackling. That is not a player in decline. That is a player operating at an elite level across multiple dimensions of the position while playing his age 35 season. His streak of consecutive seasons with 100 or more tackles now stands at 14 straight years, tied with London Fletcher for the longest such run in NFL history. His most recent Pro Bowl selection came just months ago in 2025. This is not a legacy signing built around what someone used to be. Brian Schottenheimer made his feelings unmistakably clear when Kay Adams put the question directly to him at the NFL owners' meeting in March. He called Wagner a total stud. He said he is one of the biggest Bobby Wagner fans in the world, built from their time coaching together in Seattle. He confirmed that Dallas had made strong runs at inside linebackers all off-season that simply did not work out, and he did not close the door. Bleacher Report's Christopher Knox named the Cowboys one of the 2 best fits in football for Wagner. Sports Illustrated's Cowboys coverage placed him at the top of their remaining free agent target list. CBS Sports identified Dallas as a legitimate landing spot specifically because of the green dot vacancy and the existing relationship between Wagner and Schottenheimer. The coverage limitations deserve honest acknowledgement because this channel does not hide from inconvenient truths. CBS Sports noted that Wagner's lateral coverage ability has declined and his best days of sideline-to-sideline range are behind him. Christian Parker's system asks linebackers to move and cover, and Wagner is not the player he was a decade ago in that area. That is real. But his run-stopping dominance remains elite. His pass rush production remains elite. And his ability to command a defense before the snap, to read a formation, process what the offense is showing, communicate adjustments, and get 11 defenders aligned correctly before the ball moves, that ability is exactly what this Cowboys defense does not have right now and desperately. Needs. Schottenheimer coached Wagner. He knows where to deploy him and where to protect him. That familiarity is not a footnote. It is the reason this fit makes real football sense. NFL Network reported Washington paid him $9.5 million last season. Wagner negotiates his own contracts without an agent, which is exactly the kind of situation Jerry Jones walks into with enthusiasm. A modest reduction to compete for a Super Bowl on a short-term deal is not an unreasonable ask. The framework exists. The relationship exists. The need is undeniable. What is missing is the phone call. Now let's talk about a player most people are not discussing yet. Because before this offseason is fully evaluated, Shiyazh Pete deserves his moment. The Kentucky offensive tackle the Cowboys just signed as an undrafted free agent stands 6'8" and weighs 320 pounds. And the size alone demands attention before you even get to the football. Pete spent 4 seasons at New Mexico State, 1 redshirt year followed by 3 playing seasons where he earned first-team All-Conference USA honors in 2023 while helping the Aggies to their first 10-win season since 1960 before transferring to Kentucky for his final year of eligibility, where he started all 12 games for the Wildcats in 2025. Across both schools, he appeared in 45 total games with 42 starts at left tackle. That is not a tryout player. That is a decorated prospect with genuine college starting experience at a position Dallas has not fully solved. The Cowboys' own official site confirmed that offensive line coach Connor Riley attended Kentucky's Pro Day specifically to watch Pete work out in front of NFL personnel. A position coach does not make that trip for a player the organization does not believe in. The Athletics' Dane Brugler rated Pete the 54th offensive tackle in the entire 2026 draft class, which tells you the professional evaluation community sees legitimate developmental upside in his frame and movement skills. The road to a 53-man roster spot is steep, with Drew Shelton drafted in the 4th round and Nate Thomas already in the building. But this offensive line room is more unsettled than the public messaging suggests. Tyler Guyton enters his 2nd season with real questions around his consistency. Tyler Smith projects better at guard than tackle. Shelton needs development time before he is a reliable starter. The depth behind those players is thin, and thin depth creates opportunities for players willing to compete for them. Pete is a member of the Navajo and Salish nations and one of the most prominent Native American athletes in college football. His journey started as a walk-on at New Mexico State when every major program passed on him, and it ends, at least for now, with a professional contract with America's team. Jerry Jones has built a career finding players the rest of the league left on the table. Shiyazh Pete fits that tradition, and dismissing him as a roster filler would be the same mistake other teams already made once. Here is the full picture of where this defense stands heading into summer. The Cowboys traded for Rashawn Gary to address the edge. They drafted Caleb Downs in the top 12 after trading up to land the best safety in the class. They signed Jalen Thompson to a 3-year deal, added Kobe Durant and PJ Locke to rebuild the secondary, drafted Jyshawn Barham in the 3rd round to give the linebacker room youth and athleticism, and took Malachi Lawrence in the 1st round to continue building the pass rush. They rebuilt an entire defensive roster unit by unit around the conviction that Christian Parker's scheme could fix what was historically broken, a defense that allowed 30.1 points per game in 2025, the worst mark in the NFL and the 2nd worst in Cowboys franchise history across 66 seasons. Every significant position group has been addressed. Every major need has been answered with real personnel moves. Except one. The linebacker room does not have a proven green dot player. Winters is not ready for that role yet. Barham is a rookie. Overshone has never consistently filled that role. The most critical pre-snap communication job on this entire defense remains open heading into training camp, and the 2 best available solutions, Jack Campbell and Bobby Wagner, are both still within reach right now. That window closes fast in this league. It closes the moment Detroit locks Campbell into a long-term extension. It closes the moment Wagner signs somewhere else, and this fan base watches him command another team's defense from the position Dallas left vacant all offseason. The rebuild is real. The roster is better than it has been in years. The investment this organization made in this defense this offseason was genuine and significant. But the linebacker room is the last piece, and leaving it incomplete after everything that has already been committed would be the kind of decision that defines a season before it ever starts. Jerry has to finish the job. Make the call to Detroit. Ask about Jack Campbell before another team gets there first. Make the call to Bobby Wagner before the moment passes for good. Drop your take in the comments, Wagner right now, or Campbell before the window closes. Which move matters more for the future of this defense? Like this video if you believe the linebacker room is the last thing standing between this Cowboys roster and
Hey everyone,
contention.
I'm working to hit 1,000
Subscribe to
subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Gives up. Tomorrow, we keep going.